In the last class, we studied the introduction part of surveying. What all are the things we covered? The topic. First thing is the definition of survey. Then later classification of surveying. The classification of surveying, two classifications are there. One is primary classification and second one is secondarily classification. In primary classification, you're going to have two divisions. That is, one is plane tables of plane surveying, and second one is geodetic surveying. And the secondary classification, in that you're going to have classification based on nature of field survey. Second classification based on, yes, speak up. Classification based on objects of survey.
Object.
Third, classification based on methods. And the last, classification based on instruments used in the survey. These are the things what we studied in the last class. Today we're going to study principles of surveying. In the principles of surveying, there are two basic principles of surveying. The following are: number one, work from whole to part. Work from whole to part. And the second, to locate a new station by at least two measurements. Two measurements. What are those two measurements? One is linear or angular from the fixed reference points. These two things you're going to study for today's class, and apart from this, you're also going to study scales, plans, and maps. Starting from, we go for the first basic principle, that is work from whole to part. Work from whole to part. Work from whole to part means we're going to take the whole area, whole survey area, and we're going to locate the main station points, or you can say control stations, and we're going to have the main survey lines, which it's going to form an area. And to measure that area, if the area is irregular in shape, then we're going to make it division into number of we're going to make divide in the number of divisions by forming well-conditioned triangles. I will give one example so that you will have the clear idea what I was telling about work from whole to part. In the last class, I was talking about the plane table, how the plane table we're going to work out on the field. Say this is your plane table. This is your plane table, which I kept center of the field area. Center of the field area. On the plane table, you're going to have drawing sheet. And the plane table, what it does, whatever we're going to measure on the field, the same thing we're going to project it on the paper. Here, whatever the measurements we are taking here, say this is K, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So these are the points. These are the points we have to calculate the area. To calculate these points, first what we're going to do, we're going to plot it on the sheet. Plot it on the sheet with the help of plane table. After getting this lines, whatever the main points we're going to have, say this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, this one, and this one, and same thing which represent here on the field. Okay, these are the points which we cannot change. So that points we're going to say main control, or you can say what? Control stations. Main stations, or you can say control stations. So these are the points we're going to say main station, or you can say control station. So after having this control station, then you have to measure this entire area. To measuring out this entire area, we're going to make it divisions of this area. This whole area, we're going to make it divisions. So to making divisions, we're going to have proper well-conditioned triangle. So say this is one triangle, and say this is another one triangle, and this is another one triangle, and this is another one triangle. So likewise, you're going to make out all the triangles to getting an area. Now say this is first area of a triangle, this is second area, third, fourth, and so on. So if you have the triangle, so you can easily get the area, is it or not? So if you are getting this, then you just add all the areas, finally you will get the total area. So here work from whole to part. Work from whole to part means what? You are taking the entire area and you're going to divide in the proper well-conditioned triangle. There you're going to calculate, or you can there you're going to calculate areas of each division. Then you're going to add all the divisions. Finally, you're going to have the total area. So this is how it's going to work. Work from whole to part. In the second principle, with the reference of 2 points, we're going to locate a new point, or you can say with the reference of 2 points, you're going to establish a new point. The reference point will be A and B, and the new established point will be C. These are the reference point A and B, and you're going to establish a new point C. So here you're going to have many cases. So we'll go one by one. In the case number 1, say this is a triangle. So here, what are the given data? A and B are given. With this reference point, you need to calculate C. 138, don't draw anything. A and B are the reference point. With this reference point, you need to establish a new point C. And also they're going to give the data, that is D2 distance as well D1 distance. Then how are you going to do? How are you going to establish this new point? You know this D1 and D2. With the help of, hello, is somebody speaking? Hello. Okay. So the given data are what? AB is given, D1 distance is given, D2 distance is given. Now here what we're going to do is, AB we're going to make a line by linear measurement. And whereas D2 and D1, this one we're going to draw with the help of protractor. Or if you're going to have a chain, or if you're going to have a measurement of like tape, measuring tape, so you're going to make an arc here to get the point C. So how are you going to make out the arc? From A to C, having distance D2, you're going to make one arc here, right? Like in the protractor. How are you going to make? Same thing here also. And from B to C, with the distance of D1, again you're going to make an arc. So whatever the point you're going to have this, so this will be your new point. So this is first case. And in the second case, again you have the two reference point A and B. Here D2 is given, So whereas D2, which is drawn a perpendicular line with the reference of AB line. This data is given and we're going to draw the perpendicular line having an angle of what? 90 degree. So with the help of what are the two things you're going to have? AB line you're going to draw with linear measurements, whereas this perpendicular line you're going to draw with the help of angular measurements. This one is the second case. Now coming to the third case. In the third case, here AB you're going to draw. First we'll go through the given data. AB is given, D1 is given, and angle is given. But we don't know the distance of AC, distance AC. With these two data, we have to establish the C point. AB we're going to draw with the linear measurement, and angle ABC we're going to have an angle by θ1. So after getting the angle, we know the distance D1. By measuring with the help of tape, we're going to locate the C. So this is the third case. Next, coming to fourth case. In the fourth case, again you're going to have reference point, that is AB. AB is drawn linearly, and angle ABC and angle BAC are going to draw with the help of the angular measurements, θ1, θ2. So wherever it's going to bisect angle ABC and angle BAC, where the joining point will come, so that point is going to be your new point, naming C. Next, fifth case. In the fifth case, again you're going to have AB reference point, and θ1 is given, D2 is given. Angle ABC, you're going to make a line here, and D1, D2 is given. So putting the tape here, and you're going to measure it out up to a distance of D2. So wherever it's going to intersect, so that point we're going to say C. So this is the second case of the principle. With the reference of two points, we're going to establish a new point. Plan and maps, usually this both, where we're going to plot it on or we're going to draw it on the horizontal plane. Plan and maps. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between plan and map? All of you know what is plan, right? In civil engineering, I am talking about civil engineering. Plan means, I'm not asking in general way. In civil engineering, what is plan?
It's the blueprint of an house or an area.
Exactly. If you are considering particular the field of any like construction, if you want to construct a building or if you want to construct a house, there you require plan. So plan means what? It is a graphical representation to some scale which features on near or below the surface of the earth. So the plan which we're going to project it on the surface of the earth. Is it on surface of the earth? And that plan which is drawn on the horizontal plane. So that thing we're going to project it on the field. So that is what we're going to say plan. So what is the meaning of maps then? Hello? What is the meaning of maps?
Representing
Yes.
representation of area.
Representation of area. Okay. Then even in the plan also you're going to have the same thing. There you're going to represent the area only. Even in the maps also you're going to have same. Then what is the difference in between? Yes, anybody? You know what is plan now? Plan means what? It's a graphical representation of some scale which we're going to get it from near or below the surface of the earth, and we're going to project it on the horizontal plane. Right? So that is the plan. Even in the maps also we're going to do the same thing. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but here the difference are where the plan we're going to make use in plane surveying, and we're going to have in the smaller areas. Plans where we're going to have in the smaller areas and in the large scale. Smaller areas and in the large scale. You got my point? One thing I will explain you properly so that you have the clear idea. Large area, small area, large scale, small scale. If you are going to consider larger area, you're going to make use of small scale. If you are going for smaller area, you're going to go for large scale. Is that clear? If the area is very small, yes. Hello. If the area is very small, there we're going to take larger scale. If the area is very large, then we're going to take small scale. So how I will explain you in the coming slide. So here in the plan, we're going to consider this plan in the plane surveying, and also we're going to consider this plan in small areas, and we're going to take here in larger in scale. Okay. Now coming to the map. So map is also graphical representation, graphical projection on a horizontal plane is small. Small. The plan is called a map. Okay. Graphical represent small means the scale. So here you need to understand here. If the scale of the graphical projection on a horizontal plane is small, okay, scale is small, the plan is called a map. Okay, if that is the case, then only we are going to say map. And in the second term, what they have written, thus graphical representation is called a plan if the scale is large. So that is what I was talking about. If scale is large, then what we are going to say? Plan. Okay. And when we are going to call this map? When scale is small. Don't get confused. Yes, do you have any doubts here? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Next, coming to on plan, generally only horizontal distance and direction or angles are shown. On plan, we're going to show only horizontal distance, direction, or you can say angles. Whereas in the map, we're going to show topography. Topography as vertical distance. Vertical distance means elevations are also represented by contour lines. Contour lines. So here you can see topography of the hill. say this is a plan. This is your plan, or you can say this is your map, because we are considering smaller in scale, so that this is going to be the plan, and this is the elevation of that plan. You have here in the plan we're going to represent the contour lines. So these are the contour lines. These are the contour lines. This contour lines, what it shows, this 100, whatever the 100 shown here, this 100 means it's a level. It's a level. So if you are going to measure the height here at this point, here also you're going to have 100. If you are going to measure at this point, here also you're going to have 100. Okay. And similarly, coming to 200. In the 200, this is your line, contour line. At the 200, this contour line which shows the level of 200. 200. Similarly, 300, 400, 500. So it is rising. Yes or no? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So when it reaches at the top, it is going to be 500 meters high. Okay, 500 meters high. This is how we are going to make use of the contour line, by showing the topography view of the field. To the scales. You know, scale means what? You already done this drawings and all in the first year engineering drawings. In the engineering drawing, you used to take scales. Yes or no? So whatever the larger distance are there, so to make it in small, we're going to make use of the scale. So here I will take some examples. So these are the scales. Scales in kilometers, scales in miles, scales in feet. So these are the scales available in the market. We can have the direct scale, or else you have to draw on the paper of sheet, marking like 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, like that. So 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer, or 1 centimeter is equal to 1 miles, or 1 centimeter is equal to 1 feet. So how this value came, that thing we're going to study now. The scale 1:100,000. How this value came? So that value is called representative fraction. That value, what we're going to say, RF. In short, we're going to say RF, that is representative fraction. In the representative fraction means what? It's a ratio of distance of the object on drawing to the corresponding actual distance of object on ground. Okay. So distance of object means, I will take a small example. I am taking 1 centimeter. Whenever I am going to draw 1 centimeter on the drawing sheet, corresponding to this on the ground, how much it is going to carry. So here I am going to take 1 meter. Okay, 1 meter. But here, what you have to convert here? See, both the distance are in same unit. So these are not in same, right? So you have to make it this meter in centimeter. To making that meter in centimeter, how you going to make out? So 1 meter is equal to how many centimeter?
100 centimeter.
Good. 100 centimeter. 100 centimeter. So 1 into 100. This will give what? RF. RF. That is 1:100. 1:100. So this is how we're going to make the scale, by showing the representative fraction. So this is the representative fraction of scale. Next, coming to the next, we'll have the example. So this is 1 centimeter is equal to 10 meter. So RF will be equal to 1 divided by, so this 10 meter I want to convert into centimeter. So 10 into 100. So finally is equal to 1 divided by 1000, or you can say 1 is to 1000. Second example, 1 centimeter is equal to 100 meter, and RF is equal to 1 divided by 100 into 100. Why 100 into 100? Because 100 meter is there. Into 100, why? Because that centimeter I want to convert into meter. If you convert that, finally what value you are going to have? 1 divided by 10,000. Or you can write it like this, 1 is to 10,000. Third example, once again, 1 centimeter is equal to 1000 meter. Or they are going to say 1 kilometer. One centimeter is equal to 1000 meter or 1 kilometer. These people won't give this in terms of meter. If they are going to provide kilometer, you have to convert that in meter. Then later you convert that in centimeter. So this RF will be 1 divided by 1 into 1000 into 100. 1000 is meter into 100. That is centimeter. So finally, what you are going to have? 1 is to 100,000. 100,000. Next, I was talking about large scale and small scale. So here you will have the proper idea about what is large scale and what is small scale. In the small scale, the length what we are going to consider, it will be very large. Say in the first case you can see here, 1 centimeter is equal to 940 kilometer. 940 kilometer. Okay, it's in terms of kilometer. So the representative fraction will be what? How much? 1 divided by 940 lakhs. 940 lakhs. So this ratio, if you make it, when you are going to equate this, you will get very minute value. So that is what it shows, small scale. Next, coming to is getting decreasing. The final value will be what? Increasing. Yes or no? Denominator. Are you getting my point? Next, 1 centimeter is equal to 160 kilometer. So here, see the denominator. Denominator is decreasing, whereas the final value will be also increasing. So final value, what in the calculator, if you calculate this value, so this value, final value will be keep on increasing, right? If the denominator getting decrease. Similarly, last thing, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 13 kilometer. See in the denominator, it is compared to this, it is decreasing, and the final value will be large. So if you compare this small to large, okay, so this is how we're going to do. If the scale is small, we're going to have larger in length. If the scale is large, your length will be very small. Next, coming to graphical representation of scale. Suppose your map or plan if going to get shrink due to exposed to the atmosphere or due to voltage of the map or plan, it may get shrink. If that is the case, this graphical representation of the scale we're going to make use to know the proper fraction where it got distorted. So this is where we're going to make use this graphical representation of scale. Next, types of scales. You're going to have a plane scale, diagonal scale, chord scale, vernier scale. In the plane scale, these are the most commonly used in our day-to-day life. So here we're going to have a centimeter, decimeter. You know what is a decimeter? So here 10 centimeter is equal to 1 decimeter. So in plane scale, we used to have the units such as tenths, meters, decimeters, etc. Next, coming to diagonal scale. In the diagonal scale, we're going to have 3-dimension measurements such as units, tenths, and hundredths. That is, we're going to make it unit as meters, decimeter, and centimeter, and so on. Next, coming to chord scale. This chord scales usually we're going to make use to measure the set of angles. And this chord scale, which is made up of ordinary wooden scale, or in the shape if you're considering that is rectangular in shape. So this is how the scale looks like. So starting from 0, 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree, 40 degree, 50 degree. So based upon that, whatever the curvature you're going to have. So basically this chord scale we're going to make use in setting of curves, where we're going to have the roads, wherever in the turning points we're going to have. In that particular area, we're going to make use of this chord scale to measure the proper angle of the curvature. Next, coming to vernier scale. All of you know this vernier scale, and also you might have done this vernier scale in the past in your college, 11th, 12th. In the vernier scale, we have 2 approximating scales. That is, one is fixed and another is called a primary. The fixed scale, what we say, that is primary scale, and the movable scale, what we're going to say, the vernier scale. So this is how we used to have the vernier scale here. So this is the main scale, which is fixed. The movable scale, that is going to be your vernier scale, the bottom one. Now coming to the main choices of the scale of a map. So here the area matters. If the area is large, we're going to choose the suitable scale for it, depending upon the area. Like for example, if I say, if the area which is going beyond 1000 kilometers or 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers, if that is your case, then we're going to make use of the scale by saying 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. Okay, so with that kind of the scale, we're going to make use to plot the maps. So here, when we're going to say the large and medium, small scale. In the large scale, if 1 centimeter is equal to 10 meter or less than 10 meter, then we're going to say large scale. Medium scale means 1 centimeter which is equal to 10 meter to 100 meter. Then we're going to say medium scale. Small scale, when we're going to say 1 centimeter is equal to 100 or more than 100 meters. Okay, so this will become the small scale. So these are the 3 categories of scales. Now these scales where we're going to make use. In the engineering projects, we're going to make use saying that 1 centimeter is equal to 2.5 meter to 100 meter. Okay, so this is a red, whatever I have marked in the red. Okay, so that indicates to related respective to that value. Engineering projects, we're going to take 1 centimeter is equal to 2.5 meter to 100 meter. And for topographical maps, we usually have the scale, that is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. Okay, and for the plan preparation, so whatever the plan we're going to do for the home construction or building construction, here we're going to take 1 centimeter is equal to 5 meter to 50 meter. Okay, so these are the choices of scale of a map. So these are the things. Okay, you can have the screenshot of this for your reference. In future, it may going to help you whenever you're going to draw any plan for the types of survey. So that's it for today's class. We'll wind up here. If you have any queries or any doubts, you can ask me now. If not, we'll wind up now. Do you have any doubts? Yes? Hello?
No
Hello?
doubt, sir.
Okay, only one is saying no doubt. What about rest all?
No, sir. Sir.
Boys? No,
No,
boys
sir.
are there. Eh? Okay, good.
No, sir.
Okay, fine then. So whatever the topic I have covered today, so that thing I will give you the assignments. That thing you have to write and submit for next week. Okay. Is that clear? And for each assignment, you are carrying 5 marks. Okay, don't lose 5 marks. Is that clear? Okay then. See you in the next class. In the next class, we're going to study the conventional symbols and the chain surveying. Okay. So there I'm going to talk about all the chain survey, what are the things we're going to do and how we're going to calculate the area by using chain or tape. Okay. See you. Okay, then see you in the next class. Happy weekend. Bye bye.